All right, here we go. Sorry about that. I realized that if I got off, I wouldn't be able to text Jessica to let her know that I'm on. So I'll just give y'all a moment. I know somebody was on here a second ago. I hope that they are back on here. Hey, Leslie, how are you? I gotta fix my lighting. I'm waiting for Miss Jessica to get on. Iberian girl, how are you? Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday to all of you. Whew. Wow, what a day. Miss you too. Miss you too so much, Leslie. But we'll be seeing each other soon because it's summertime. All right, I'll give folks a moment to get in. Jessica, I see you. Give me one sec. I just need to wipe this screen because it's hecka dirty. Okay, I'm going to screen up a little bit. Hey, Poochie, how are you? Aloha, aloha. I'm waving back to all of you. Hello, Miss Jessica. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm so good, daughter. Daughter.
Oh, here's Emma. I think she heard you the second you.
Hello, Jessica. I am Corey Harris. I see you. Hi, baby.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Good. You know that we are on Instagram, Emma?
No.
We are. People can see you. How are you doing?
So everyone in the whole entire world is
The
going to see
whole world, girl. Everybody can see you.
What if they don't have TikTok?
If they go on TikTok, we're not on TikTok, sweetheart. We're on Instagram.
What if they don't have Instagram?
I don't know, baby.
And they're missing
Hey,
out.
Takataza. So we'll just give folks a moment or so to get in here, and then we'll get started. I'm on today. I'm so excited. First of all, I was running some errands, and I literally, bye, baby. I was running some errands, and I literally just walked in like 3 minutes ago.
Me too. I just got in the house like 10 minutes ago, and I'm saying like, "Oh, hi. How are you?" Like we weren't just on the phone.
I know. It's been a long day for both of us. So while I'm waiting for y'all to come in, I'm so excited that today's live is a conversation between me and daughter, my daughter Jessica, and who is an amazing human being, one of my favorite people in the whole planet. You already know that, girl. She's on the East Coast, and I am on the West Coast. Yeah. And so, hey, Letty Bug.
I saw. Let me see. Poochie 8249. I see you on a lot of lives. Hello.
Aloha.
Oh, see, he commented right on time. Oh, thank you.
Poochie's on one of the islands in Hawaii. Hi, Gianni Lee.
Hey, Gianni.
It's just LAA, or it's just La. How are you?
Yeah, Gianni is an artist and designer who I actually did a panel and a photo shoot with.
That's right.
Yes.
Jeez, I'm so sorry, Gianni. How are you? Sorry about that. It's been a long day. I've been up since 4. So why don't we, and I know that you've had a long day too, and so thank you for joining.
I'm giving snacks and everything,
I'm having like 4 o'clock coffee, which makes no sense, but if I'm going to get through the rest of this day, that's just what's going on here.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to tell y'all what we're doing. Hey, Bree Banger.
Hi, Brittany.
We see you.
Hi,
you are the star of New York City. We see you. So I'm going to tell y'all what we're doing today. So, a lot of the work, well, everything for me is about legacy, family legacy, and what we give to each other, what we bestow upon each other, in through the quality of the interactions that we have with each other. And that's just always been something that has been really important to me, something that I focused on. I think family is everything, and not just family and passing things on from, a financial perspective, gifts or money or that kind of thing, but also really focusing on how we treat ourselves, and as a result, how we treat each other. And so, as we were talking about bringing some amazing women on for me to chat with, to talk about, during this month of Mother's Day month, and this is for women who, or people who have children and not, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we're always contributing to the folks that we are around. And so, in thinking about that, I was like, well, you know what? Talk to Jessica. She's a woman. She's my daughter.
On our call yesterday, everybody was like, yeah, yes, okay, cool.
So I figured we'd get on to chat. And also, there's someone in the community who actually sent me a message. I had asked on a previous live for folks to let me know of different topics that they wanted to cover. And so someone in the community reached out and she was like, hey, can you do something about mothers? And in her particular situation, it was a situation where she felt like her mother hadn't given her a lot of information. And so when she got to, her late 30s and 40s, she felt like she was kind of scrambling around and trying to figure things out on her own because her mother didn't share a whole lot. And so she asked if I would, do something talking about parenting. So we're going to kind of mix some of that in also. Hey, Menav, MDX, I see you.
Hilarious and perfect timing at drop off, or was it pickup? No, at pickup today when I got Emma from school. A mother and I had that same exact conversation. Now our daughters are friends, and one of the things that we spoke about was that we try to like overshare with our child because there were things that we didn't know and wish that we knew. So we're trying to create transparency in this new era of parenthood. So the timing is wow.
Yeah, it's interesting. Hey, Glory B. Art, I see you. It's interesting because it's funny because when I became a parent to you and your brother, my whole goal was to allow, I came from a generation, I'm first generation. And there wasn't it was really about providing for the family and heavy responsibility and all of that. But there wasn't a lot of, the focus on mental health and emotional well-being wasn't really a priority. It wasn't a thing, nor was there a focus on things like allowing a child's voice to be heard, right? We were there when we knew our place. And so then I had your brother, who is 11 years older than you, Joseph. And I remember when Joseph was a teenager, and I have a very good friend who has a child who at the time has a son who's the same age as Joseph. And I remember Joseph and I were talking about something, and Joseph just would not be quiet. And for the first time in his life, and this Joseph had to be 17 years old, and he was just like ta 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 ta, and I was just, my patience was gone. And I remember looking at him and saying, "Shut the fuck up." And then
it only took you 16 years. Listen, it takes other parents way less time.
I was done with, and he's like, and his eyes got big, and I heard his feelings were hurt. And he was like, and I said, I know, I've told you that you have a voice and you have a right to speak, but I'm telling you now, shut the fuck up. Oh, I'm gonna fuck you up.
I kind of feel bad. Hey, Eric. Eric came right on time. Eric is my brother's friend from around that time.
So it's reminding me of kind of like, now you're a mom, and you're a mom now, and here you are talking about what you've done, or the ways that you're looking to do things a little bit differently, and how you're kind of taking the experience that you had and what you're now choosing to do, and how you're choosing to focus on your parenting, you know, from that perspective. So that's what it reminded me of.
So I'm not saying that I won't go there, but every parent feels like that often, like just, she's close, you know? And you were on a live yesterday and you were saying that sometimes you would just hide in the bathroom on the phone. And I was cracking up laughing because I think yesterday or the day before I was doing the same thing. I didn't know that you used to do that. And when I tell you, I go in the bathroom and talk to my best friends all the time. And Emma be like, what are you doing? She's banging on the door. I'm like, give me privacy. Like, I just need a minute.
I just need
hide in
a
the bathroom
minute.
every day.
A minute. So I have a question for you. We did a post the other day, Jess, and for those of you who are just joining, I am on with a very special guest,
That's
my daughter.
That's my mama.
That's my daughter. And we're on to talk about family dynamics and intergenerational, you know, the things that we pass back and forth to each other, and also how parenting, the role of parenting and the relationship changes and shifts as different things are happening, you know, in a family. In a lot of ways, we have, in some ways, it's kind of a non-traditional kind of family, just because of, you know, we're all over the place, you know, and international supermodel and DJ. That's right.
I'm the family DJ,
Jessica.
the family chef, the family supermodel in my head. I do
thought
the hair.
I was the DJ. I thought I was the DJ.
Um,
But so I did a post. We did a post the other day, and the question that we asked was, and if you all haven't seen the post, and if you want to share about that, that's great. Also, while Jessica and I are talking about this, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, let's do it this way. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask a representative mother, ask me. And if you have any questions that you'd like to ask a representative daughter, ask her.
Hi,
Or
Elaine.
if you have any general questions, throw them out there. Hey, Elaine. Ask the question, what did you get from your mother? I think that was the question. Like, what three things did you get from your mother? So what I'm going to ask you, Jessica, since we're here, is I want you to share three things that you got from me, and share three things that you got from me that you'd like to do differently.
Oh, really?
Really?
Okay. Emma. She wanted the seltzer. I thought it was for me. Okay, three things.
Like to do differently.
I feel like you're putting me on the spot. Three things is a lot.
Listen, we're gonna have real talk, right? Like, why
Okay.
get on here in front of all these folks when
Okay.
the question about parenting and grandparenting and family dynamics, I think that's something that's all of us are dealing with. So if we're gonna get on here, let's just do it. Hey, Elaine.
Okay, so one thing that I'm working on with myself.
It's just why I heard you. We're gonna circle back to your comment in a minute.
When I'm sad or upset, sometimes my initial thing is anger. So I have to reroute my brain. It takes a lot to not be angry. I feel like I do self-anger management sometimes. I feel like a different person these days because it's way easier for me than it was. So that's something that I know I got from you. Like, Brittany, hot, spicy. I know she wasn't even talking about that, but spicy, hot fire, super hot fire.
Tamale.
I get that from you, and I've been trying to keep it cool all the time. You know, I still react, whether I'm still hot, but I've been trying to keep it cool.
So how are you keeping it cool? What are you doing?
I take deep breaths and I count to 10. And that helps me process what the actual feeling is.
Okay.
So that I don't respond in anger. The anger's still right here, but that helps the way that I respond to it. And then I think about the next 10 steps. So if I curse this person out, then it's going to escalate, and then this thing can happen, and then now I'm in jail.
Well, geez, you went far. Okay.
You know, I always, oh, you know, you got to take all the steps.
Got it. Okay.
So I reel it all the way in so that that never happens. My record is clean. I want to stay that way.
Okay.
I'm too old for the nonsense now.
Wow. You went like, okay.
You know, but that's what helps me. I go to the extreme in my head so that I laugh about it and reel it all back in. That's what, it's weird, but that's what helps.
But you have some folks who understand that Bribanga's like I'm working on that too.
It helps.
Okay. If anger for you is a home emotion, give me a thumbs up in the comments. If like for you, anger is a home emotion, meaning when you're sad, anger comes out first. When you're hurt, anger comes. I know, not Jill Elaine. I don't know why she's going there. When you're angry, when you're sad, anger comes out first. When you're hurt, anger comes out first. If that is your home emotion, let us know it. Okay, second thing.
I'm learning how to rest when I'm tired.
I love that.
That's something that you didn't do publicly. So now that I'm older, I understood that you were doing it, but it was always like a door shut thing. It wasn't like a, hey guys, right now I just need some rest and give me the space to rest. It was just like, get out of here. I'm overwhelmed. So I'm learning that, and I'm trying. It's hard. These kids don't, now I get it. These kids just don't listen when you say you need a minute. So I get it now, but I'm trying.
So what are you doing?
I speak on it. I talk about what my needs are and how, you know, if saying, you know, get out of here or I need a minute is different than saying, hey, I've had a really long day and I just need a little bit of quiet time to decompress. And in an hour, I'll, you know, hang out. And I did that this weekend. I took a 2-hour nap and she hung out. She had snacks. She was chilling. And I was like, oh, it was that easy.
Yeah. That's something that I know that you started off with having gotten from me, but I agree. I think that, and I don't know why I didn't at the time, I've learned that it's okay, because for me, it's part of my role to show you how to take care of yourself. And unless I and you bring your child into the process, it's really hard, you know. Children don't pay attention to what you say, they pay attention to what they see you do. You know, as just saying, she loves that for you. And yes, moms are Navy SEALs like no other, Bucci. Okay, what's the third thing?
The third one. Oh, I had a really good one. It just slipped my mind.
Something that you learned from me that you're doing differently.
I'm going out and having fun more. I want to have intentional fun, not just, oh, let me go and have a drink, because I don't even like drinking like that. But like, I went to a great concert a few weeks ago, and that's something that I just, and now I'm like, okay, where else am I going? But I'm planning nights to make sure that I have a good time instead of just feeling like I'm winging it in the wind and trying to find yet another restaurant to go to.
You're saying that that's something that you saw in me that you're doing differently?
When I was a teenager, you would go out and have drinks with your friends, but I didn't really see you like plan fun nights with your friends. Even now, when you come to Jersey, like you don't do it as much, but you visit New Jersey and you guys will go to the same restaurant. That's not like just because.
It's because I'm like, the conversation is so wonderful that, you know, okay, I like it.
So yeah, I want to start planning. I have been planning my nights more, planning my days out.
I love that. Biggest thing that you've learned since becoming a mother?
My patience. I've learned patience.
That's Emma for you, those of you who don't know. That's Emma in the background. You've learned patience.
Bye, people in the world.
They all said bye, Emma.
The whole world.
They've all said bye.
I've learned patience. Things don't bother me the way that they used to. Like I said, it takes way more now to get me riled up. I feel like you don't see it much because if I am riled up, I'll call you with all the hot smoke, but I lay it on you more than I lay it out into the world.
You know.
So like I'll tell you a story and it's as if I went off, but I'm like, no, I'm just telling you. But I've reeled it all in. My patience is way up there now.
I see your patience is definitely higher.
I've been more understanding also.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a mother, I look at, who the person is and okay, they may be going through something. I think of all those things.
Yeah. So it's just La. We said we would L-A-A or La. I'm not sure, but I want to circle back to your comments, and basically you said that your daughter, you want to talk to your daughter every day, and she thinks it's too much. How old is your daughter? Let me ask that. Let's see where we are with that one.
So I'm turning 30 this year, and years ago, sometimes talking to your parent can be too much, but I feel like the parent-child relationship goes through phases, and if you are like extra pushy, that can just be annoying to a teenager.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like knowing that no matter what you're going through, somebody's calling you because they care. And when you're having a dark day, you're going to be the person to call on if you're consistently calling that your child.
La's daughter is 33. I think that one of the things that I think that Jessica and I, and Joseph too, Eric, well, how are you going to come on here and just
I just said I have patience,
That's
Eric.
so terrible. I think one of the things, we three have a really good relationship, I think, and we've had the hard conversations and we can have the best of fun with each other. And I think part of it for me has been understanding that you all are human beings before you're my children, and so I don't often, every once in a while, I got to tell somebody off, like something, like nobody's business. But for the most part,
I'm sorry, I have to throw that in there. I love when you do. Every time you tell me off, I'm just like, you're
do
right.
love it. Yeah,
you're right.
but
That's
every once in a while, right? But I would, Glory B, tell me what you'd have difficulty answering. But I think what I have found is that I don't focus as much on I'm your mother and therefore you must blah, blah, blah. I think that for me, what has worked is to actually be in relationship with you and your brother versus focused on my role as your mother. I think it's a different approach to the relationship, and it's really about and it's really also about allowing space for whatever it is that's going to happen, because I think that sometimes as parents, and I know I've done this, where I want to control the situation, and in me wanting to control the situation, I lose or I miss out on really getting down to the heart of the matter. So I see it's just law that you're saying that she diverts from hard conversations. Maybe try to have, and this sounds oversimplified and I don't know all the circumstances, but my thought would be maybe if you're having those hard conversations, first of all, ask yourself if you're pushing a hard conversation on your daughter that perhaps she just does not want to have or is not ready to have. And I'm just throwing a couple of things out there, right? Or maybe it could be that I think it's really important to have space in relationships, no matter who the relationships are with and no matter who the conversations are with. And when you allow space, then you allow a new thing to crop up in the space between you and that person. So if you think about your friend and the way that maybe you interact with your friends, I know with my girlfriends, we could have, a disagreement, but the space between us is always a space that allows room for growth and for processing and for mistakes and for curiosity and to not know something. And that is the same relationship. Most of us treat our friends better than we treat anybody else. If you take that same thing, you're still the mother or the father or whatever, whatever your role is, you are still that. Like there's nothing that's going to change that. But maybe shifting the relationship a little bit better or shifting the interaction to one where that person feels safe enough and trusting enough to be able to come with their version of the hard conversation, or to be able to come to say, hey, I effed up and I don't know what to do. And you don't always have to solve the problem for the person just because they're your child. That doesn't mean that you're having to solve everything, because you and I both know you don't know the answer to everything, you know? So
Yeah,
maybe
I was
is
going to
there,
say
does
the
that
soft
resonate?
conversations are important. If you don't have the soft conversations, and if you're not sharing what you've been through and what you're actively going through on the day to day, it's going to be harder for your 33-year-old to want to share what's going on in their life. Because if it's not something great, they may feel like they're disappointing you, and that's hard.
Yeah,
Versus both of you sharing what you're going through and what you're having trouble with, and having that conversation as two grown adults.
I get that. So I see, okay, a couple of things here. One is she's visiting from LA to Atlanta for Mother's Day. So here's what I'd love for you to think about and consider. She's literally flying from the West Coast to Atlanta to visit her parent from, I'm making an assumption that you're a mother, that she's, all right, Eric, love you too.
Love you, Eric.
She's flying across the country with the time, energy costs, all of that, putting her life on hold to go across the country to visit you for Mother's Day.
I wouldn't want to
So
have a hard conversation. Can we just hang out and chill? Can we relax?
I challenge you to allow her to have space, even though it's about Mother's Day and all that stuff, because I know we all, you know, the mother role is a hard, challenging, it's a challenging one. I don't want to say hard, it's challenging. But maybe allow her to come, visit, no hard conversations, and make your intention to be to learn something new about your daughter. So what that means, and I know it's hard for us mothers, because I know there have been times in some situations that my children have been in where I have been like, nothing.
See, you
And
just
the
made
reason,
that face, and I just got scared. I just got nervous and looked the other way.
and the reason being, because I don't want my voice to override your voice. My role as your mother and as Joseph's mother is to empower you to stand in this world and figure your life out. I am not the owner of you, and you are not me. And you don't necessarily, there's something that in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, that talks about the model of the world. And don't assume that because somebody is your child or your brother or your sister or your parent, that you're both looking at the color red and seeing the color red. You won't even know what that person is truly seeing unless you're willing to take a step back and allow that person to tell you who they are. So I'm assuming that if your daughter's 33, and if your daughter lives on the other side of the country, your daughter is taking care of herself on a day-to-day basis, no matter what your involvement, support, we're not even going to get into that right now. So maybe it's about you allowing your daughter to tell you who she is and what's on her mind and what she's grappling with in her own life. It's about trust and what you would do for a friend. And if a friend were struggling, you would tell that person, hey, you know, you may want to think about this, but you're not going to make a situation for your friend where your friend feels unsafe or where they cannot, there's no space for communication. So just, you know, think about that. And if it resonates, I'd love to hear a little something about that.
And if your friend came across the country to come and see you, you would be relaxing with your friend and enjoying time with the friend.
Just have a good time. Forget about the fact that you're a mother for a minute. Really, I really mean this. Forget about it. It does not matter. It doesn't matter.
Go have mimosa flights and have a good drunk or something with your kid. Go do drunk yoga.
It doesn't matter. You know, just have a good time. Enjoy the time that you have with each other and allow your daughter to come and spend time celebrating you versus turning it into, okay, my mother's going to have a hard conversation. And now I got to think about, you know, allow a space for you to both to grow and for you to both learn about each other. Glory be Art. The things I would do better that I learned from my mom, she had a lot of guilt from not being there, but she worked 2 jobs. I think it would be too hard to point out things.
So
Let me
my
tell you.
mom was a working mom also, and when I was young, it was hard because I saw, some of the other like PTA moms that were there for everything, and my mom was working a lot. Like she was not the parent that was just on site all the time. But now I'm older and I'm trying to juggle it all, and I'm exhausted, and I cannot show up 100% being both type of moms, and I'm trying to figure out that balance right now. The PTA is on my heels. I keep telling them I cannot do it, but but it's like, wow, that's what I wanted when I was younger. So it's figuring out that balance, but also it's given me, I've been able to give my mom so much more grace now that I'm a mother. I'm not angry about things that I was angry about before because now I have a better understanding. Um, yeah, it's hard being a working mom.
Jessica's dad, my ex-husband, Jessica's dad, Jessica and Joseph's dad, um, we got divorced when Jessica was in high school. She was a freshman when the whole thing started. And I'm going to tell y'all, I did not handle it well. There are things I did that were just like, I was in my stuff. I was in the middle of, the breakup of a 17-year marriage. There was a lot going on, and there were definitely things that I could have done better. And what I realized, and this is talking, it's just law about the space, right? What I felt was the space in the area in my relationship with each one of my children. The space was a little funky. We were functioning on a day-to-day basis and, all that good stuff because I'm their mother and they're my children. But there was stuff there. And as I started to recognize that things snowball if you don't deal with them. And it starts off as a tiny little pebble, and then before you know it, it is the only thing in the room. And so what I had to do was take my guilt, take what I know I saw as the adult person in the situation and watching what I knew was going on, that was that I was accountable for. And I had to face it. And it was not easy to have those conversations with my kids and to have those conversations where I'm like, all right, I know things are jacked up. Tell me what's on your mind. And my kids, let me tell you what, they just say it. There was nothing. They were like, well, let me tell you and I really had to force myself to sit down and listen to their model of the world and listen to their experience, because it wasn't about right or wrong. It was about how they were perceiving certain things that were happening, certain decisions that I made, things that I was just, the things that were going on. But I also knew that if I didn't deal with it and if I didn't have the courage to deal with it, that would be setting the tone for a shitty relationship with my kids. Because what I did not want to have was a relationship where they're eggshelling around my ego about the situations that happened. And so sometimes, and you're taking care of a kid every single day for every single day of their life, whether you're in their home or not, right? Being a parent is a 24/7 job. And so this expectation that you're going to do everything perfectly and you're never going to fuck it up is bullshit. Just let it go and accept the fact that you're a human being doing the best you can in the moment and in the circumstances that you're in. And so I think that was one of the primary lessons for me of being a parent as my children were getting older. It was like, you know what? I can hear you.
But that
And you
wasn't
know what?
overnight. It
It
took us a
wasn't
while.
overnight.
It took us
It wasn't
a
overnight.
while
It
because you
did.
would say like, "Oh, how do you feel?" And sometimes I'd be like, "I'm good."
Yes. So it was a two-way thing. So what was it that got you to the point where you were actually able to say it?
I had to feel like no matter what I said, and no, this is the big thing, no matter how I said it, it was a safe space.
Because her mouth, I'm telling y'all.
You know how much I heard, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. And I'd be like, what are you talking about?
Like that. Just like that. Her mouth, whoa. And it really was me being willing to be like, okay, I'm going to listen to her heart. Because at the end of the day, I love my daughter. and my son, and I want to have the best relationship with these two human beings that I could possibly have. And what I'm not going to do is allow defensiveness and anger and my unwillingness to actually confront things in my life to create crap in our relationship. You don't have many at all with your mom. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, and then Leslie was saying that she thinks that it's a cultural thing
That's
because
what I
even
was
now it's tough
just
to have.
reading. We're
Oh,
here.
oh,
That's literally what I was. Go ahead, do it.
sorry, Leslie. Long story short, not even a long story, but she's saying that she thinks it's a cultural thing because even now it's tough for her to have those hard conversations with her mom, and I think that it is Hispanics. Leslie is Mexican. We're Caribbean, and it's very much that my way or the highway. I'm the mom, you're the daughter. I'm right, you're wrong, and there's nothing you can do about it. But when you get to an older age, it's like you don't really want to accept that. You shouldn't have to. But in certain cultures, you could be 80 and your mother is 102, and it's still, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm the mother.
And sometimes it's also asking yourself why. Sometimes we want to tell somebody something and we're not even clear about why we want to say it. Like, what is it that you're really trying to get out of the situation? Is it to tell the person they're wrong, or is it to tell the person how you're experiencing something? So I think sometimes getting clear about that can really help. She's bringing edibles. Good. Both of you eat
Mm-hmm.
all of them. Yeah, she's just like, Mom,
See,
you
I
don't
thought
know
I
how
was
much
going
I
too
felt.
far. I was like, get drunk, do mimosa flights, and go. And she's like, oh, edibles. I'm like, okay, I thought I went too far. Good. You guys are on the same page as
She's
me.
like, yeah, she's like, Mom, you don't know how much I felt. She probably, you
You
don't.
don't.
So let her tell you. What is Jessica's sign? That's Jessica's. Jessica is real. I hope she takes on PTA.
Big
Jessica,
Leo.
big time Leo.
Big Leo.
Big Leo for sure. Um, all right. So you know what? I know. Thank you, Poochie.
Thank you.
Mahalo. So I know this. I know that I have been up since 4 o'clock in the morning.
She
And
has. I was trying to send her email. I'm her assistant also, guys, just FYI. I'm
that's a
trying
whole
to send her.
other live that we have to do
Yeah,
about
we'll do
working
that on
together.
another. No, no, no. Don't talk. We'll do that on another
Okay,
day.
okay. No, not today,
I
not
was trying to
today.
send you emails early, like let me send her messages before she gets up, and it was like 9 o'clock my time. You're like, boom, replying. I was like, oh God.
Nah, man. I woke up at 4 and I was like, I'm gonna lay here and think, or I might as well just get up and just do
You
whatever
need
and just pop it into bed.
rest.
Yeah. Thank you, Glory B. Please call your mother and bring some of this energy. Here are my, well, what are your closing thoughts? And then I'm gonna have the last closing thoughts. So you tell me what your closing thought is, Jessica.
My closing thought is that I am thankful that we're at this place where we can have these conversations where we're being real and ourselves and as foolish as we always are. So the hard conversations don't have to be hard. This is a hard conversation, but it doesn't have to hurt. And I'm happy
Yeah.
that we're at that space because now when I'm out in the world, I can have hard conversations that are less harsh and they don't hurt who I'm speaking with. It just brings a level of transparency to my other relationships. So I appreciate you reteaching me how to do this.
Jessica, you're welcome. For me, for the mothers and the fathers, for the parents, okay? Our children do not belong to us. They are gifted to us. And what we have is this beautiful, beautiful opportunity to guide and direct and help another human being to go from a place of complete vulnerability and inability to care for themselves to where they are fully functioning adults. And that is more than food on the table, roof over the head, how hard you worked, the clothes they wear, generational, other aspects of generational wealth. I believe that the wealthiest families are the ones that are healthy, where there's boundaries, people are accountable, where there's open communication, and most of all, where people can laugh with each other and at themselves. And where the human beings within a family or a tribe or whatever are not taking themselves so seriously that they miss the beautiful moments. So I encourage you, especially during this month of mothers, that if you are either the parent role or the child role, adult or younger, that you bypass the roles, the titles, the shoulds, the, I'm going to tell you because I'm your mother. That's not going to make a person listen to you. Build trust, build safety, build an environment that is a fruitful environment for a relationship to grow. Consider the space between you and that person and seed into that space and let all that other stuff go. Because it's not until you see my heart and I see your heart that we can truly, truly, truly know who we each are. It's not just because you change this person's diaper that makes you the authority on everything about their life. You have to leave room for them to grow, for them to evolve, for them to have their own experiences, share those with you, and then that combination creates a beautiful, beautiful thing. I believe my daughter and I and my son and I have an amazing relationship. Amazing. And I'm not always, like I said, there are times where it's not always like this. But what we do have is respect and love and trust, and we are safe with each other. And that matters more than anything else that you can do for your kids. So if I can leave you with anything, that's what I'll leave you with.
And
I
don't
love you
take
so much.
things so personally. Sometimes the person
Thank
is
you.
tired or fed up about other things. So as a parent, you cannot. Like Emma will come home and sometimes she'll be a little short or like just seem out of it. And I could be like, don't talk to me like that, blah, blah, blah. Or I can gentle parent, boundary though. Hey, excuse me, that's not the way that you talk to your mother. But what's going on? Like, let's try that again and then tell me what's going on with you. And she'll usually melt in that space and tell me that something went wrong or she's just tired or whatever, when I could have just been pissed off and now we're both pissed off, walking around pissed off.
And don't take things that I'm so happy that you mentioned that, Jess, the not taking things so personally. Going back to the folks that we were talking to before, sometimes if I don't hear from Jessica every day, there was a time where I'd be like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard from her. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. But what I've learned is if I see her as another human being, then I see things differently. She's working. She's a mother. She's, you know what I mean? And
sometimes I'm just depressed and I can't talk to anybody. But then if I do pick up the phone and the first thing I hear is, why didn't you call me? I'm going to be like, and go right back into my shell. Exactly. I do that sometimes when I'm really sad or going through things. So that helps too.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. This was fun. We have to come back to talk about working.
Read my mind.
We have to come back to talk about that because that is some fun stuff. That has been hilarious and going really well. Thank you all so much.
You didn't have to throw that in there.
All right. Bye, y'all. Take care. I'm cutting you off. Goodbye.
I love you, lady. I'm going to call you on the other line.
Good night, everybody. Good night.